The Lantern That Chased the Stars. English Story Level 3. In the desert village of Salandra, every home hung lanterns that glowed softly through the night. They used special desert crystals to create light, and many believed the lanterns protected the village from wandering spirits. But there was one lantern, unlike all the others, a small brass one owned by a boy named Kale. Kale's lantern never held a flame. Instead, it glowed by itself, warm and golden, even without a crystal. His grandmother told him it was a gift from the sky, a lantern born from a falling star. Kale carried it everywhere, lighting his path across the dunes each evening. One night, as Kale walked home after gathering herbs, the lantern flickered strangely. Instead of gold, it glowed silver, then blue, then violet. Before Kale could react, the lantern tugged itself free from his hand and floated upward, bobbing like a balloon in the wind. Startled, Kale chased after it. The lantern drifted toward the edge of the desert where few dared to travel. Strange shapes moved beneath the sand, their creatures born from heat and shadow. The lantern continued rising until it hovered beside a tall dune, pulsing with bright starlight. A figure stepped out of the sand. A girl dressed in shimmering robes that reflected the night sky. Her hair looked like strands of silver, and her eyes gleamed like constellations. She greeted Kale warmly and introduced herself as Astra, a messenger of the night spirits. Astra explained that Kale's lantern was indeed a fallen star, one that had lost its way. It needed to return to the sky, but its light was too weak to reach the heavens. Only someone who believed in its purpose could guide it back. The lantern had chosen Kale. Kale looked at the lantern, which trembled like a frightened animal. He knew he had to help. Astra led him to an ancient stone circle buried beneath the sand. Symbols etched on the stones glowed faintly as they approached, as though recognizing the lantern's presence. To restore its strength, Astra said, Kale had to chase the stars not literally, but through trials that tested his courage, kindness, and resilience. Each trial would kindle a new color of starlight within the lantern's core. Only then could it rise to the sky again. The first trial came as a sudden sandstorm. Astra vanished, leaving Kale alone. The storm roared, blocking every direction. Kale held the lantern close and whispered calming words, focusing on the light instead of the fear. Gradually, the storm calmed, and the lantern glowed bright amber. The second trial was a creature made of shifting sand and glowing eyes. It circled Kale, testing his bravery. Instead of running, Kale stepped forward and offered the creature water from his flask. The creature paused, then dissolved peacefully. The lantern glowed deep sapphire. The third trial was the hardest. Kale found a young desert fox trapped under a fallen rock. He used all his strength to lift it, scraping his hands and arms. The fox escaped, nuzzling his leg before disappearing. Kale collapsed, exhausted. The lantern glowed emerald green. When Astra returned, she smiled proudly. She said Kale had passed every trial with a pure heart. The lantern now shone with full starlight, swirling in brilliant colors that danced across the sand. Together they walked back to the stone circle. Kale placed the lantern in the center. The sky opened above them, forming a pathway of shimmering constellations. The lantern rose slowly, brighter than ever, humming like a living star reborn. Kale felt joy and sadness as it drifted higher, leaving him behind. Before it vanished, the lantern released a small spark that floated into Kale's hands. It became a tiny star shard, warm and glowing. Astra told him it was a gift, a reminder that he had guided a star whole, and that the night sky would always watch over him. Kale returned to Salandra with the shard hanging from a cord around his neck. From that night on, whenever he walked the desert, the stars shimmered a little brighter, as though greeting the boy who once chased them across the dunes.